So one species that we would both really like to photograph is the badger. We've come here today to a spot where I know badgers live. I know they live here because I've seen them here once, but to be fair, even if I hadn't actually seen the badgers, I would have guessed that they live here because there are some quite obvious latrine sites here and some snuffle holes. So it does seem to be a really good place for badgers to live. I set up a trail cam here 4 days ago. So today we are going to go and check on the trail cam and see if it managed to capture any badger footage.
So if you've been following our channel for quite a long time, you'll know that some of our earliest videos were actually where I spent some time trying to find badgers and photograph them. And whilst I spent quite a lot of time scouting out a particular location, I found plenty of badgers and also got some footage of them on trail cam. I did see them coming out of their set on one occasion, but never managed to get photos of them, and one of the main reasons for that was it was just too dark in that location. So since then we spent quite a lot of time trying to actually track down the badger sets where there's a chance of them actually coming out during daylight, where it might be possible to photograph them, and that really is kind of a main challenge with photographing badgers.
So we've just come to check on the camera trap, and unfortunately there's no footage of any badgers here. It has managed to pick up some footage of some rabbits and a fox, but no badgers. So it's a little bit disappointing. I mean, here seems like such a good spot for badgers, so we're going to leave the camera trap out in this location but kind of move it along just a little bit, and yeah, we'll check it again in 24 hours time.
So you might be wondering why we've chosen this particular spot to put the trail cam in, because obviously the most sensible place if we were just after footage of the badgers would be to put it closer to the set itself. But the problem with that is that at this location the set is very much in the woods, it's in a dark location. So the thinking behind having it here was essentially what we want to do is we want to try and find a location where the badgers are going to be coming out and being active, but also active in an area which gets some light, because for photography the important thing is light. And as you can see here, this spot is right on the edge of a field, and it's a spot which seems to be used regularly by what we think are badgers. But it's right on the edge of this field, and so what we were hoping was that we get some footage of them in the evenings, hopefully when it's still light, at a time when there's still enough light for photography, but also an area where it's open enough for them to come out, and hopefully somewhere like this where it's on the edge of a field will give us the opportunity to find somewhere where we can set ourselves up and wait for them to emerge before then taking some photographs of them. So we've come over to a different location, and this is actually much closer to where the actual badger set is. This is where Hannah came down the other night and actually saw the badgers, but it was far too dark for her to do any photography with them, so she did manage to capture some very dark footage of them just on her mobile phone. But we thought we'd leave a trail cam here overnight, because it looks as though they come down and cross this path. We've passed several badger latrines along this actual public footpath. So we're actually just leaving the trail cam just slightly off the path, just hidden from view. And we're going to leave it here overnight and let's see if we can capture any footage of the badgers this evening.
Right, so I think we'll just leave that there overnight and see how we get on.
So we've left the trail cam in its new position out overnight, and we're just going to head up now and see if it's captured any footage. But also tonight I think our plan is just to sit out for a couple of hours and see if we see anything as well, because we know where the badger set is, so we're going to sit out there this evening and yeah, just see if we can see any.
We returned to the trail cam that we had left out the night before and checked through the videos that it had captured. Initially, it looked like we had failed to capture any badgers on film again. The path we had found was clearly being used by muntjac deer, and it could easily have been created by these deer rather than the badgers that we had hoped for. And there was more footage of the local rabbit population. On closer inspection though, we realised there was in fact a badger in the corner of one of the videos. So this was us finally having captured a badger on the trail cam in this location.
We decided to set up the cameras and wait downwind near to the set to see if we could see any badgers that evening. The light was dim and we didn't have a lot of hope for photography. It was still a couple of hours before sunset, yet even so the low light in the woods meant that we had to set the ISO to 6400, and we soon had to increase it further. It's not always about the photographs though, and we sat it out to try and capture a glimpse of the badgers as they emerged from their set. Sometime between 7:30 and 8 p.m, we had a fleeting glimpse of a small badger cub as he slipped out of the set. We didn't manage to capture him on film, and he soon disappeared, but it was a promising sign. Later, towards sunset at around 9 p.m, an adult emerged, but we did capture the badger on film this time. The following week, I returned to the badger set alone. This time the light was looking far more favourable. I set myself into position by 7 p.m, and about half an hour later, the small black and white face of a badger cub appeared right in front of me. I'm convinced that this was the same cub we'd seen on our previous visit, and given that he seems to like slipping out of the set early, I decided to name him Jimmy after Slipping Jimmy from the Better Call Saul series. This was a moment that will stay with me for a long time. Jimmy popped his head out and, paying no attention to me whatsoever, he ran straight towards me and the camera. I managed to take some shots, but not expecting the badgers to come so close, I'd set the minimum focusing distance of a lens to 6.5 meters, so his face is slightly out of focus in this image. Even so, this was such an amazing experience, and the best thing is that I managed not only to watch the badgers and photograph Jimmy, but I also managed to leave the set without having caused any disturbance to the animals. In fact, they never even noticed I was there, which in wildlife photography is always my first aim. After this first success, we hope to be spending much more time photographing badgers over the next few months. Hopefully we'll be able to make some more videos, so if you have enjoyed this video and are not subscribed to the channel, please do consider subscribing.